Okay, this video is just a quick update on the Xbox age checks video I did last week, and a lot of people on the internet are talking about, and it's just basically a quick summary of some of the comments we had and what UK gamers are asking. So just to summarise, the situation is Xbox players across the UK are asking the same question: why on earth do I have to verify my age now? Some are threatening to sell their consoles, other ones are going to PCs. So we're just going to cover a few of the questions here, just see if we can clarify them. It's an evolving situation, though. Remember, this is the Online Safety Act, and it's happening in 2026. Really, it's going to be properly forced, but here we go. Anyway, why are Xboxes being used to verify their age? Well, it's all the UK's Online Safety Act 2023. It's a law that requires companies like Microsoft and the other game suppliers, Sony, Valve, anybody really, to prove users accessing adult-rated content are actually adults. So it doesn't just cover games, it covers online chat, user-generated content and streaming features. Microsoft's approach is quite simple. It's and they're kind of ahead of the game here, really, although Steam were quite probably one of the first big game providers. But anyway, Microsoft's approach is quite simple. Verify your age once or risk restricted access to certain features. The sort of questions we're getting really and answers are really more statements, really, sort of things like, I've had my Xbox for 20 years, why do I need to prove anything? This is the number one complaint probably in the comments, or similar, and it's completely understandable. Many of these accounts are decades old, and they're already linked to credit cards which are used to buy 18 plus games. The problem is Microsoft are not allowed to assume age based on purchase history or card use. The rule in the Online Safety Act is they must verify using one of the approved methods, meaning an ID, a credit check, or something similar through a trusted verification provider. As say, the other comments we're getting is, I've had my Xbox since 2001 and still have to verify. It's ridiculous. Somebody pointed out that all these ID requirements mean that you have to have accounts with everything now. No more anonymous browsing. You need logins tied to verifiable IDs, and I think they're referring to the digital IDs that the government also want to implement. Calling it a safety measure when it actively puts your safety more at risk is wild. Fair comment. And somebody else pointed out, I will lose access to Call of Duty and Fortnite. That sounds like a reward rather than a punishment to me. I'll stick to my retro consoles. A lot of people saying this. I don't know if this is going to happen, really, if there's sort of a move to retro consoles that people play and to get rid of all this sort of tracking and monitoring. Anyway, with Microsoft, with Xbox, so what happens if you don't verify? This changes across the platform. PlayStation is a bit more severe at the moment, and Steam in some senses. If you don't verify, Microsoft has said currently you won't delete your account, but you'll probably lose access to things like chat, multiplayer, or playing online mature rated titles. They did say, that's probably not phrased quite properly here, they did say that you wouldn't lose access to games you'd already purchased previously. So if you bought an 18 and you don't, they're saying you won't have access, but you won't be able to play on it online. Or you won't be able to buy new mature rated titles if you don't verify. I think the presumption is you're under 18 if you don't toe the line. So restricted functionality, your account stays, but it stays in this restricted mode or under 18 mode until you complete verification. Of course, lots of people won't be able to verify, really, if they're not over 18. So the user response are already saying, as we mentioned in the previous slide, that they're going to quit or sell their consoles. Selling all my Xbox gear, not verifying anything. I think people underestimate how upset people can get about these sort of things, really. Probably because we've been drilled in for decades not to let our ID online, and for years, I know, in the early years of the internet, we were all drilled not to to stay anonymous online, and the drive is to go completely opposite. So who's going to handle your ID data? So if you're going to verify, you're going to have to upload your driving license or your passport or something like that. And all these big accounts are using a third-party verification provider, such as Yoti, they're called, or One Account. Both are approved under UK age verification standards. How it works? Well, they'll check your ID, confirm your age, and then tell Microsoft Verified. They supposedly won't keep any of these details. They'll delete your passport or driving license instantly. It's not held on there. Lots of people obviously have trust issues with this, especially gamers. Things like Discord did something similar a few weeks ago, and they promised that they wouldn't have any of the data. They wouldn't keep hold of people's driving licenses, but they did. I'm not sure who's the case. Discord are blaming their third-party provider, and the third-party provider are saying it wasn't them. But in essential, I think it was 70,000 accounts were compromised, and they stole their driving license and passports. What happens with that? I don't know. So, can parents verify for kids was a frequent question. Now, family settings, parents can still manage child accounts under Microsoft Family Settings. That part hasn't changed. Adults verifying themselves need to use their own ID. It's a separate process. It's designed for legal compliance. It's not parental controls. You cannot verify your children's age for them. You cannot say they're over 18. You have to provide proof individually. So you couldn't get your 17-year-old son or daughter and say they're 18, for instance. Does this affect PC or Game Pass users? Well, not really at the moment. Again, this could change, but for now it just affects UK-based Xbox consoles. But since Xbox and Microsoft accounts are linked, the same verification could spread to Game Pass on the PC later. The same with Linux and PC. A lot of people think these will stay unaffected. I'm not sure, but it looks like it is the case for now. Steam has already started compliance testing in the sort of PC market, and it's using credit card verification, so it's a bit less intrusive than everybody else. And a big question in loads and loads of the comments. Gamers seem to be quite well versed in all this stuff. They seem to be quite knowledgeable about it. And the question is this the start of a UK digital ID system? Of course, this digital ID has been proposed by Mr. Starmer. There was a petition at the beginning of October against it, saying basically do not introduce digital ID cards, which got up to about 2 million, nearly 3 million signatures. And the government basically just knocked it back and said we're going to do it anyway, which I should have put the petition on here because it's quite blunt, really. It sounds like they're going to steamroller it through. Anyway, so that's the big fear that this nationwide digital ID system that, judging by the comments I've seen, UK gamers do not want. The UK government denies that this is all linked, and they say the digital ID is a different thing, and they're pitching that at stopping illegal immigrants or something like that. The same technology, though, is being used for banking and age verification. There's a very thin line between this gaming and digital IDs. And let's face it, anybody with any common sense can see it's all going to merge if it goes through. So whether you see it as a safety or surveillance now depends how much you trust the system. Not very much from what I've seen. So what do you think? Have you been asked to verify your Xbox account yet? It's been rolled out. Not everybody has seen it yet. New accounts I definitely have, and most of us are. We're not being forced to do it yet, and this will happen through 2025. These sort of restrictions, whatever they decide, will happen in 2026, I think. So are you going to switch, stay, selling up, do something else? Drop your thoughts below and check the links in the description for verified updates as Microsoft rolls this out. And I'll try and make more videos on this with just updates in the future. So thanks very much for watching, and bye for now.